Test. Councilor Nichols, can you hear us in the chambers?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Welcome to City Council Chambers at 10 West State Street. The date today is February 12, 2024. The time's 5:30 p.m. We're here for a regularly scheduled City Council meeting in the Council Chambers. We are called to order. Will those available and able join us in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Hoop?
Here.
Kell?
Here.
Lottiehoff?
Here.
Mitchell?
Here.
Nichols?
Here.
Schneider?
Here.
Thompson?
Here. Very good. Full house. Public comment section is next, and members of the public may make any comments on items that are not on the agenda. Approach the mic, state your name and address for the record, and limit your remarks to 3 minutes unless I authorize longer than that. Please direct the comments to the mayor and council as a whole, and the mayor and councilors are not to engage in discussion or debate on those items in order that we don't run afoul of our open meetings laws. The last 3 meetings, I've gone right on to mayor, council, and administrator comments. Today, I'll remember to actually invite people to the microphone. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Joe Carter, 610 Elmwood Drive, but also President and CEO of Marshalltown Company, also owner of Crosby Park, also owner of Willard Hopkins, though those last two things more my wife has done than I have. First, I wanted to say thank you to Robert Meharry and the TR, and they got some nice press in their own paper this past weekend about all the awards, accolades to those guys. I think what they do for our community is a huge deal, and I think what they are able to do for a small town, and congratulate people, whether your kid's in band, whether your kid's on the sports, what they're able to do. And so I thought he ought to get some extra press for that. But thank you for all of you for all your service, secondarily. And I'm going to pick on Councilor Hoop tonight. I think by my count, Al Hoop has been on the council for 17 years, somewhere around that time frame. So been here quite some time, a master sergeant, I believe, in the military, retired. Thank you for that service. And then also a basketball coach, a football coach, and a baseball coach over the years at MHS. And so all of that, I just appreciate the service that you've given to this community and what you've done here. I think that stuff needs to be stressed more than it probably is, because some of these decisions are hard and some of these meetings are tough. And you giving your time to be able to do all that's huge. But also also a longtime Emerson employee, 37 years. And I think also, if I'm not mistaken, I think you're a huge proponent of roads, have been. You've spoken about that, trying to get roads better in this community for forever. And I think also the other thing that you've done is you've talked about you're in favor of bike paths, but we don't see enough of them in the 4th Ward, and that you'd like to see more of that. I hope I haven't misspoken or misquoted you in any way, but I think those are accurate statements. And obviously, since you can't comment, I'll just work on it myself. But being the president and CEO, I keep talking about this of our company. You were here at Emerson in the 1970s, if I'm not mistaken, and so you know how wealthy this community was. Per capita, we were one of the wealthiest communities in this state, and we have fallen from those ranks, right, to be one of the most impoverished communities in the state. And if we're going to turn that stuff around, if we're going to make those roads better, I truly believe, and I speak on behalf of the other industry leaders that we group together, we know we've got to continue to add great things to this community. That means spending some money. And so there's been a lot of people before me, and certainly before my wife and I, but we decided to take things on our own with Crosby Park. A lot of people said that was absolutely insane to build that. We wanted executive level rental places because we were losing kids to Ames, to Des Moines, to Ankeny, all those other spots, and we have proven that wrong. Higher priced, yes, but I don't think there's a nicer place to rent in this community than Crosby Park, and what is now open at Willard Hopkins, much smaller facilities, but they are open and available. So I will quit there, but I will ask you to continue to think about all those things that can make our community great again, and if we're going to fix those roads, to try and make our community wealthier, and by doing that, by growing this community. So thank you all to your service, specifically you, Al.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, we're not supposed to single out a counselor, but in a case like that, you weren't critical of him at all. And for all those years of service, he deserves that kind of an accolade, truly. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Alan Kent, 612 North 4th Avenue. I'm not here to just pick on one. I'm here to pick on all of you. I have a problem I've been dealing with since 2018. And behind my house, it's just like living in a junkyard. All these cars, I've been told is going to be taken care of and all this and that. It's been 6 years, nothing done. My property tax amount goes down. The amount of cars keeps growing. And I'm tired of it. There's nothing done. My question is, what are you going to do about it? Go ahead, you can answer me if you want.
No, we can't.
There's got to be something to get into these people's pockets, start finding them, do something. These cars have got to go. I have one Hispanic car lot, used car lot, that started parking their stuff on Bruin's property. And of course, Bruins, they won't do anything because they say, well, we got to get along with our neighbors. They're not doing a very good job of it. But that's what my main gripe is are we going to get something done about it? Because I don't see where you guys are doing your jobs. It seems like you bypass that and move on to other things. I understand the road problem, but we have other problems in that neighborhood, and it's bad, and it just keeps growing. And I'm just wanting to see what we can get done about it. Because I don't think I can even sell my house if I wanted to. Nobody's going to buy it when you're sitting there staring at a pile of cars out your back door. So I'd like to see something done about it. Maybe my council member can fill me in sometime on what's going on. But thank you for your time. I'm glad I got my piece said.
Thank you, Mr. Kent.
Yes.
The microphone is still open.
Good afternoon. I'm Randy Schoen. I'm with Imon Communications. It's a corporation out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. For the last 4 to 5 months, I've been working with some officials from the city of Marshalltown to design, put together the possibility of bringing fiber to the home to Marshalltown. We compete against the Mediacoms and the CenturyLinks of the world, and it is proven to be just hands down, this is a good thing for us. We figured out connection to get from, a diverse connection from Cedar Rapids to Ames and to Des Moines. We want to basically introduce ourselves to the council and the mayor and say that we would like to move forward. And so, yeah, I know you can't say anything, can't ask any questions or anything like that, but I just wanted you to be aware of it. I do have a PowerPoint, but it's going to take more than 3 minutes to go through. So that the PowerPoint will be available for you to look at it, but we are strictly fiber to the home. There's no coax, no nothing. It's, the speeds are outrageous. It's just, it's amazing. God, this, without asking questions, I'm kind of at a lull. But like I said, we do aerial and underground construction. I understand the bonding, the excavation permit process. I'm working with the water department for a property to put a hub site. So, in a nutshell, we're basically looking forward to coming to Marshalltown, and then I'm sure that we'll have an official council meeting, and I hope you will all enjoy us coming here. So, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Erin Carpenter, 802 North 4th Street. I came across some very interesting data recently, and it was surprising to me about our community, and I would like to just share that with you. So I'm very sorry for the numbers. I'm about to throw at you with no visual aids. But this info comes from the 2023 Yale Climate Opinion Fact Sheets, tailored specifically for our very own Marshall County. The data is extrapolated from broad national surveys combined with a model that uses geographic, census, socioeconomic, political data. More information is available if you want to really dive in at climatecommunication.yale.edu. So these numbers are not what I, or probably many of you would guess, but I think there's an explanation for that I'll get to. So first, the data shows that a whopping 70% of our community members believe that global warming is happening, and 62% believe it's already affecting the weather. And even with Yale's margin of error in their data, that is still a solid majority. 56% recognize that it's mostly caused by human activities. Now, generally, 64% of Marshalltonians, do we call ourselves that? Okay, Marshalltonians are worried about global warming. And most believe it will harm plants and animals and also harm future generations. Many believe, 68%, that it will harm people in developing countries. Only 64% believe it's already harming people in the United States. And only 45% believe it will harm them personally. 42% believe they've already experienced the effects. The numbers are going down. I found that trend fascinating, and I'd speculate it's generally because people are cognitively aware of the problem, but there's a disconnect between the threat and what they perceive as a threat to themselves. I don't know who else found those numbers surprising. It is slightly lower than the national average, but only slightly. Now, I have a theory that these numbers are what they are because only 34% of locals discuss global warming, at least occasionally, and only 31% hear about global warming in the media at least once a week. If we aren't hearing about it, if we aren't talking about it, it's easy to think that no one cares. But the truth is that it is on people's minds, and I get that everyone has a lot of demands on our attention and energy these days. Brain health, hanging on to the next payday, caring for loved ones, even staying warm and fed consistently. There's so many things that take immediate priority. But I want to simply bring this to the attention of the community so that anyone interested in doing more knows that they're not alone. read the room, know your audience, but speak up. Because if climate change is something you're worried about, a majority of people in our community share your concerns. Thank you for your time.
You guys don't know how hard it is to sit up here and not reply. Anyone else?
My name's Jimmy Lee Lant. I live at 610 North 4th Avenue. I also have property on 815 North 4th Avenue. I'm like Al. I'm getting tired of these cars. I got a message on my phone from Sue Cahill back in 2018. I can show you, Mr. Mayor. She said you got to get this thing taken care of, cleaned up. I was up here once before. Al Hoop can remember me. They tried to the city nuisance man tried to ticket me I had a frame outside my garage. And I was restoring this truck, and I was moving the frame in and out all the time to mow under it and stuff. They came down while I was gone, told my wife I had 72 hours to take care of the problem, being it wasn't runnable, it wasn't licensed. I took care of the problem. I abided by your nuisance law. I took care of the problem. And here today, it's completely reverse. I've had Mike Lottie Hall down here many a times before, and Al can witness that I had problems with this all the time, and it's not getting any better. You come into Marshalltown, you look over on the right-hand side, it looks like a salvage yard right there by the dike. Go look at it when you get done tonight. Take a look at it. It's just, I probably 30, 40 cars there. And a lot of these cars that Al's talking about, I counted them before I came up here. I counted over 50-some cars between Marion Street and Riverside. And a lot of them, I bet 40 of them don't have license plates on them. Why we write these ordinance if we don't want to enforce them? The city's got all the opportunities in the world to make some money by ticketing these people. But they don't want to do their job, evidently. If I'm out of line, Mayor, you tell me. You wouldn't want to live next to that, would you? I don't. I could bring more neighbors up here if you want me to. But it's just getting out of hand. The address is at 815. I got like 4 or 5 cars next to me don't have plates on them, sitting there in the backyard, junk. I'm tired of this stuff. I pay my property. I don't taxes. I don't try to squirm around anybody. I don't try to mess with anybody. I just do my job. You send me a bill out, I pay the bill. I just want to live like you guys live on the south side. You guys don't have a bunch of cars out there. We're on the north side. We're north siders. And I'd like to see something get done about it. I know Mike's been down there 2 or 3 times and looked at them. And he agrees with me. They're out of hand, but evidently he can't get no support. I don't know what he means by I can't get no support, but I like to see, Mark Metro used to live down there next to me. He knows what I'm going through. It's just, that's why he moved out of the neighborhood probably. It's just getting out of hand. And some of these places that put car lots at, they should be able to license a car lot there, because I talked to Mike Teffer before. Parking on the sidewalk, haven't I, Mike? Been up there. Talked to him. Probably about 8 months ago. It's still going on. I mean, where's the stop? Nobody, until you get in people's back pockets, they're going to just keep running over us. I'm just sick of it. I don't know what my next step is, but I got to do something. I'm tired of it. And I hope I get the support of you guys that you take care of the problem, because at one time, about 6 months ago or so, you took care of a couple problems down there related to these. You made the people clean up. Now they cleaned up, and now they're right back at it because the other people didn't clean up. So why should them people have to pay to go get a lawyer and stuff like that and fight it, and then they can't get no help? They cleaned their place up, but they're right back at it. I just don't get it. I'd like to hear some comments from you guys.
We can't do it because it would violate the Iowa Code on open meetings laws. This is the public comment section where it doesn't, it's about things that aren't on the agenda. That isn't on the agenda tonight.
Can somebody get back with me?
If you get a counselor to put it on the agenda, then it's something where you can get the feedback.
Okay.
And
Can somebody be getting back with me if any action is going to be taken on this or what?
if people call me, I tell them the best way to do it is to have your counselor, if you can convince your ward counselor or one of the at-large counselors to put it on the agenda, that's the best way to get it on there.
Well, my council member has gotten with you about this issue, I heard. So why hasn't it been taken care of then?
Our clerk will follow up with our nuisance abatement officer. And
But he never comes around. You call him, he never comes around. I mean,
you're at 5 minutes and 25 seconds, so I've let you go a little over the 3-minute limit.
I understand where you got a limit on this stuff too, but I understand too that I fought in Vietnam, combat veteran. I fought for freedom of speech, and that's one thing I want to exercise while I'm still alive.
Got a lot of people here who want to talk tonight. That's why we have to have the limit.
They do
So
too,
Thank you,
and
sir.
I'll wait them out.
Our
and,
clerk will follow through on it. Please sit down.
Okay.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Ray Mitchum, 1402 South 3rd Avenue here in town. I've been here all of my life in Marshall County and taught in the public school systems for 40 years. A lot of students that are now here in town too, and appreciate the compliments a little earlier about the TR and Robert Meharry, doing a good job with some of the TR articles, and even the comment here earlier about the global warming concern. I think the TR has done a good job in showing both sides of the global warming situation, which a lot of us know there are definitely two sides of the global warming. And being in science research my whole life, certainly there's another side that wasn't a given tonight. But my main concern here in complimenting the TR was the op-ed that some of you might have read in today's TR from the Gladbrook Public Library Director. She has been up there, I know, a long time, and I thought that would be a good example of another side of the library story. So if some of you haven't had a chance to read the library directors from Gladbrook op-ed today, there are definitely two sides to the library issue. And of course, the state of Iowa has had some challenges now with that, and some of you are aware this last year I've been even kind of pushed into it because of even adults, patrons not being able to read certain conservative publications from our own library, which I think we need to look at again. So those are just examples. We do have to be careful of remembering there are two sides. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. So I run a web page, a Facebook group called Marshalltown City Council Watch. It's been in the news. It's a good place for discussion if you can't have it here. I think the theme of what we're seeing here is we need to work on being better at being a better city. Yes, we used to be the most wealthiest, and now we're near the bottom, and that's creating a problem in several different aspects. Yes, we all want to work on getting better. Because our tax base is low, that's impacting us, and we need to focus most of that money on priorities like infrastructure. And I think the Parks and Rec and things like that. They're all good things. We need both. But we have a good group. If you'll go to a website called propublica.com and you'll use the nonprofit explorer, you'll find that there's over 230 nonprofits registered in Marshalltown. Some of them with multi-million-dollar endowments that actually could help us grow better. Some of them we set up during the tornado, like the Rebuild Marshalltown Fund. And there's Trails Inc. and a bunch of other ones which we can fund through nonprofit activity and donations, and we don't have to put those things on the taxpayers' back. And I think we need to focus on that. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Now time for the mayor, council, or administrator comments. Anybody on the council wish to visit?
Yes, Your Honor, if I may.
Okay, you may.
Along with Al, their problem, I would also ask that at future council meeting coming up, it's not really part of budget, but it is. I'd like to look at the rate structure for our part-time help and our seasonal help and our policies that surround that.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Your Honor, if I may,
You may.
our constituents have spoken many times about the way our city looks. That was one of the things I ran on, as you all know. And I think it's time that we, as a city council, stand up and listen to our constituents. A lot of us up here have not listened to our constituents, or if they have, it's went in one ear and out the other. And I know for a fact that our city codes is way behind on what he's supposed to be doing. If he needs help, we need to get him help. If he can't do the job, then we need to have somebody oversee him to get the jobs done. He's multiple months behind in what he should have had done. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Other council comment? Okay, well, time for the mayor or the city administrator. I guess I get double time, don't I? Having been on the nuisance committee about 25 years ago, the nuisance board, I guess, I can't remember what we called it. We each had a hat and a badge and went out and did work on that. I know that on the north side where we live, we've had problems, literally next door and near our office too. So it is a problem, but it's one that takes money and time and work. I know that a recent former city administrator was working very carefully on trying to figure out how to adjust budgets and adjust personnel to be able to provide more help in that department. On the issue of climate, having been through a tornado and a derecho here, I think a lot of us are pretty familiar with that. There's a group called Consumer Climate Lobby that I'm one of the state leads on, and so I suggest if anybody's really interested in looking into it, look into that group. They have a lot of other data and ways that can help to try to move the needle nationally. We are on an upswing in a city. We've got growth going. We have more building permits coming out. Like Mr. Ladehoff said at the last meeting, we balance a budget every year. It's not getting any easier. We need people to understand what the vote is coming up and how much of an impact it will have on our city budget if we don't renew that 1 cent sales tax. So please do educate yourselves. We do have a brochure on this city webpage to help on that. There's going to be a program at the library coming up, and I know there are groups that are going around to the service clubs to let people know just how important that is. And it's something that if you sit up here, you'll learn about it. If you're the mayor or the city administrator, you learn about it, what other cities are doing. And so I welcome anybody here or watching or listening to learn about those things and how important that is. That's all I've got. Let's go on and see if anybody wants to approve move to approve the consent agenda.
So moved, Your Honor.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Ladehoff,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Hoop?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Very good, that carried. I learned today by calling 8 different cities above us and below us in the list. We're number 16, so I talked to the 13, 14, 15, and those below us. They don't all read this at their meetings, but since that's our habit and history, go ahead and read them tonight. We're going to be looking into that.
Approve the minutes for the January 22nd, the January 25th, and the January 29th meetings in the bill list in the amount of $1,456,565.81. Approve liquor license renewals for Alvarato's La Salud at 17 North First Street, grocery store and Tortilla La Vecinidad at 505 North 3rd Avenue, Quick Star number 607 at 814 South 6th Street. Receipt of the building and trade permit report for January of 2024. Approve December 2023 financial statements. Appoint Aiden Sanchez to the Board of Adjustment for the term ending March 31st, 2024. Resolution 2024-028, approving the use of council-designated local option sales tax for the Aquatic Center Enterprise Fund 760. Resolution 2024-029, transferring funds for fiscal year 24 through December 31st of 2023. Resolution 2024-030, approving an electric line easement with Interstate Power and Light Company for 105 West Boone Street. Resolution 2024-031, accepting quote and authorizing the purchase of an engine for the price of $54,932.46 for the use at the Transit Division.
Very good, thank you. The reason other cities don't require those read is because they are published on our website and they're available here so everybody can read it. It's a little bit like having a PowerPoint where the speaker's reading it to you when you've already read it and want to go on to the next page. On to item G, motions. What's our first one?
Motion to approve a 5-day alcohol license for Midnight Ballroom at the Central Iowa Fairgrounds Arena for a rodeo on March 30th with outdoor service.
Move for approval.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second, Your Honor.
Very good. Discussion.
Yes, Your Honor, Luisa Ortega will be hosting a rodeo at the fairgrounds on March 30th, and she's applied for a 5-day event license.
Discussion up here at the table. While we're still doing it, any discussion in the public? Very good. Roll call.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Hoop?
No.
Kell?
Yes.
Bodyhoff?
Yes.
That one carried. On to the second one.
Resolution 2024-032, setting a public hearing for the conveyance and transfer of title of city-owned vacant lots.
Move for approval.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, Your Honor, the city opened bids on the 5 vacant lots we had for sale. We opened those on February 6th. The winning bidders have been notified, and this resolution will set the public hearing for the conveyance of title by quitclaim deed at the February 26th meeting.
Very good. Any further discussion on this one? Up here or out there? Roll call.
Kell?
Yes.
Bodyhoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Abstain due to a conflict of interest, Your Honor.
Hoop?
Yes.
Very good. That carried as well. On to the third item.
Resolution 2024-033, approving the voluntary severance of 2460 Reed Avenue, parcel number 8318-145-453-005, and 2460A Reed Avenue, parcel 8318-14453-004 from the city of Marshalltown, Iowa.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve that?
I'll move for approval, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Good evening, Heather Thomas, Public Works. In front of you tonight is a recommendation from a council member to reconsider a severance request. This was considered by City Council on August 28th, 2023 in relation to these 2 parcels. At that time, the motion failed 3-3. Our council manual allows that to be brought forward after a general election seating a new council. And Mr. Eaton has requested that the email included in your packet be presented to all of you. I think you've had time to review that. All of the documents from the August meeting were re-presented and requested additional comments from utilities. There were no additional comments submitted by any of the utility companies, and we'd open it up for questions that you have.
Thank you. So the floor is open for council comments and questions.
Your Honor, I'd like to make some comments. I do not think we should approve this. I don't think there's any legal justification to do this. And in fact, it's setting a terrible precedent, and I think we'll regret this for years to come with other severance requests coming our way. So I would urge you all to vote no.
Other council comments or questions?
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
I agree with Councilman Schneider. There is no legal precedent for this. However, until somebody shows me the proof that contradicts why this was annexed into the city in the first place as a favor to a landowner, I go back to the very beginning and think that this needs to be released from the city and turned back to the county. I see no justification why this property needs to stay in the city when you go back to the very beginning. So I'll be voting yes on this, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Other council comments?
If I may,
You may.
this goes clear back from when our founding fathers come to this country to be free of the taxing without representation. And this, to me, is pretty much the same thing. Only comment. Thank you.
Anyone else up here? Not hearing anybody else. The microphone is open for public comment.
Monty Eaton, 2460A, 2460, for the severance. I sent an email out like 10 pages. I hope you guys all had time to read it and digest it. The legality, that's a big question, as the original city council didn't follow the legal requirements of Iowa Code 368 for voluntary annexation. That's a big to-do on that one. If anybody's got any questions over the 10 pages, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'd just soon not stand here and read them into record. If anybody has any questions. Nope. All right, thanks.
Any other public comment?
Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. Yes, Monty's my brother. The city was, in my opinion, annexed in, or the property was annexed in by the city illegally. They basically stepped in the way of action the county was taking to a penalty for the landowner building an illegal building without a permit. And he ran to the city and he asked for the city to annex him in to save him from the county making him tear his building down. Since then, there have been several other actions. The city itself has illegally split the property 3 times. The legal split was to split off the property at the end of College View Lane. After that, that's the one split they can get. After that, they illegally split it so that a county property owner that abuts the property asking for severance needed property to expand. They allowed a split so that they could have that property. That property owner paid city and county taxes for several years. At that time, the city, by their own laws, should have asked that property owner to be severed into the city. They did not. In the first severance attempt that my brother made, the city denied all 3 severance requests, and then in a separate meeting brought back the small parcel attached to that county property and severed it. So, for what justification? Because it didn't have a lot of taxes associated with it. So that's not legal either. The next severance, or the next split, was illegal when Hunt wanted to build a house on the property. And he couldn't build it because the offending barn, which caused the original annexation, he needed to build his house in front of that because city ordinance says you can't build your house behind an outbuilding. So he would have had to build it in the ditch. So the city split the property again, illegally, the second time, so that he could build his house on the hill. Now technically, there's 2 parcels and 1 septic system. My brother's parcel with his house has a septic system on the other parcel, which he conveniently owns, but if sold, he would have essentially an easement to that property's septic tank. So there's a lot of problems around this property. It just needs to be cleared up. Right now, it's just a battle between certain people in the city.
You just hit the 3-minute mark.
Who want tax money.
Anyone else? Roll call.
Waddyhoff,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yeah.
Schneider,
No.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Kell,
No.
Very good. That carried. The property will be severed. Next item.
Public hearing and resolution 2024-034, authorizing the sale and conveyance of transfer of title of Lot 6 of the Edgewood Industrial Park addition from the city of Marshalltown, Iowa to Boost Run LLC.
I'll declare the public hearing is open at 6:09 PM. Did you receive any written comments in the clerk's office?
No, Your Honor.
Time for public comments on this one. Seeing no one, is there public comment on this one? Yes, sir.
Do you want me to come up during this, or?
If it is germane to this item in the public hearing, yes, I do.
Perfect. Sorry about that. John Hall, Marshalltown Area Chamber of Commerce. Just excited to bring forth this property acquisition for Boost Run's data center that they're proposing up on this site. They were drawn to this site by a combination of things. It started with availability of land and availability of power. And actually, they started here because of the Emerson data center that is currently listed for sale. And so, through a visit to their community, landed on this site. They're excited by some of the progress and development they see happening in the community, and are looking forward to making an investment here. They're looking at a phased investment. Don't have all the full details on that phased investment, but I do know at the end they're looking at about a dozen jobs that will be likely considerably high-paying jobs for the community. There's some balance on how many will be here versus remote in order to facilitate it. Their top-line jobs are starting 7-figure jobs, so it's a pretty substantial payroll and pretty highly specialized for what they're doing. But it is a data center project where basically they'll be building the facility and leasing out portions for high-volume data work. I'm over my skis on what I know about the data center. I keep looking over at Jeff Schneider for hope that maybe he'll acknowledge something like I'm saying the right words, but I'm probably not. We have asked some questions about, what potential impact to the nearby neighborhood might look like. They've assured that they're confident that there won't be any external noise. They're happy to do some additional testing around that as the facility gets ready to be up and operational, and additional work necessary to mitigate any impact that might be seen. But again, excited that we were able to bring this project forward, laud the council for their actions with the Edgewood Road extension and the unlocking of additional industrial land. And this is only the beginning. Now that we've got land assets we can market and make available. I'd answer any questions if there are any.
Actually, that after public comments comes staff review, so this would be a good time to call for that.
Good evening, Heather Thomas, Public Works. In front of you tonight is an offer to accept a purchase transaction with Boost Run LLC. This does not sell the property. This puts us into an offer of acceptance. They then have 60 days of due diligence to do. It was a full price offer that we received in the amount of $37,000 per acre. Of that, $12,000 of that is reimbursement to the regional stormwater system that went in with that. And with that, I would ask the council for their approval of the offer to purchase.
Thank you. After staff review does come council comments. Any comments up here?
Your Honor?
Yes.
I'd just like to say this is a great example of the diversification of industry in Marshalltown. I think this is a great deal.
Thank you. Anybody else like to weigh in up here?
Your Honor?
Yes.
Yes, my question would be, I presume that this would take a bunch of water to keep things cooled down? And do we have enough water to sustain that with everything else going on? Or do they have a way to recover their water and reuse it?
Great question, Councilman Mitchell. So their intention is not to use water for anything more than flushing toilets within the facility. Their cooling system is designed to be air handled. So just additional electric capacity to manage the air handling system. So they've done this in a number of other facilities. So no impact to our water capacity as it relates to this, other than, again, flushing toilets and washing hands.
Thank you.
Further council comments?
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
I'm glad that Mr. Hall added the washing hands part on that. And then the other thing, I wanted to remind Mr. Hall that those remote jobs, they can still be in Marshalltown. They can sit at home and do it. They don't have to go drive down there. So, just saying. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Anybody else up here?
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
This is really a good start to the sale of the lots. I know that when we talked about doing it, it was a 4-3 vote, whether to put in Edgewood. And it's paying off already. So looking forward to more, John.
It is kind of exciting driving out there now to see what could be.
Your Honor, one more comment, if I may.
Oh, go ahead.
I was one of those no votes. I can admit, I'm a big boy. I was wrong. So let's hope that all the lots get developed. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, Mr. Thompson. Anybody else up here? Otherwise, I will declare the public hearing is closed at 6:15 p.m. and I think we could call for a resolution approving it.
Move to approve, Your Honor.
Second.
Roll call.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Hoop?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Lottiehoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Good work on the economic development around here. Thank you. On to the next one. What is that?
Public hearing and resolution 2024-035 approving an amendment to the 28E agreement between the City of Marshalltown and the Marshall County Communications Commission for the lease of space at 909 South 2nd Street, Marshalltown.
That public hearing is open at 6:15 p.m. I'll assume no written comments were received by the clerk's office.
No, Your Honor.
Anybody in the public wish to comment? Nobody's jumping up. Staff review on this one.
Yes, Your Honor. This amendment includes updated language to reflect the continued operation and also establishes a new annual utility reimbursement of $12,000 per year, which is based off of 10% of the total building's annual electric and gas usage. So if council approves this, the Communications Commission will also need to have a public hearing to approve it at their April 2024 meeting, and the agreement will go into effect on July 1st, 2024.
Very good. Thank you. Now time for council comments.
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
I just want to make this comment. I'll still vote yes on this when we go to resolution. But I just find it hard to believe that in 2024, we can't figure out what the exact utilities are or come up with a plan, for them to pay the exact utilities. Be they more, be they less. And maybe I'm out of the loop, and I know I am, that maybe the cost to do that after the building's already been built is so astronomical that it makes sense to do this this rate that it is. I just find it absurd that a tenant has to pay a rent fee based on an unknown. So, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Other council comments? Okay. I'll declare that public hearing is closed at 6:17 p.m. and would call for a motion to approve it.
Move to approve, Your Honor.
I so move.
I'll second then.
Very good. Roll call.
Lottiehoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Hoop?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Thank you. This might be a good time to announce that having met with the department heads and having spent an hour and a half today at the fire department part of the building, I'm making an executive decision as the city administrator that the staff that do the call handling there have access to the gym at that building. That stopped when they became non-city employees, when the new commission was created, and they haven't been allowed to use the gym. But for morale purposes of those that are taking these 911 calls, and for the morale of the fire department and the morale of the police department, they're going to be able to use the gym from now on. So I'll be one of the mayors at the next meeting when the commission looks at that, and I don't know if I don't have to abstain because I don't have any financial interest in it, but at least that is something that I'm going to throw out there and let them know they are welcome in that gym now. On to ordinances. What's our first one?
Ordinance 15082 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa by amending Chapter 53 Stormwater by amending Section 53.006 Rate Structure and Stormwater Rate. First reading.
Motion's open for approval.
Move for approval. Second.
Discussion.
Good evening, Heather Thomas, Public Works. This item is following our discussion at the February 5th budget meeting. As an outcome of that discussion, we were given direction to go ahead and proceed forward with an increase in the stormwater utility rate from $4 per ERU to $4.20 per ERU, which is an equivalent residential unit. For residential homes that are on a lot of 2 acres or less, this equates to 20 cents per month or $2.40 per year. This is the first ordinance reading of that, and I would open it up for questions.
Council questions first. Public questions or comments second. Roll call.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottiehoff,
Yes.
Very good. That carried on to the second and last one.
Ordinance 15083 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa by amending Chapter 91 Fire Prevention and Protection, Sections 91.002 and 91.004. First reading.
Any motion to approve?
Move to approve, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Chief.
Good evening, Dave Ryerson, Marshalltown Fire Department. So what started out as one omission turned into being two when American Legal Publishing went to publish the new codes. They found that Section 91.004 made reference to a code that no longer to a section that no longer existed. So when I went back to review the section, the chapter or the section had changed. So we need to change that to make reference to the right section, and it has to do with how to make an appeal to a decision made by the fire chief or the fire marshal in relationship to the fire code. The other omission is that the new chapter or the new section did not state how the commission was supposed to be made, or the appeals board, the qualifications and the term of appointment. So Section 91.002 needed to be changed to make it all jive with each other. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you'd like.
Any council questions?
Your Honor, just one for the chief. Since you missed this, chief, you have to stay another year.
Yeah.
Do we get a vote on that, Your Honor?
It might take a motion to amend, and you're out of order again, Gary. Any other council comments? Any public comments? My suggestion is this: I can't imagine anybody but you and the fire marshal caring or looking at this, and there isn't any way to really get around doing it. So should we maybe invite that we waive the second and third readings on this one?
We'll need to do the vote on the first reading, and then that motion can be made.
Yeah, okay. No public comment, right? All right, let's vote on this first.
Lottiehoff,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Anybody wish to move to waive the second and third readings and save about 5 minutes at the next meeting?
I so move.
Thank
I'll
you. Is there-
second.
Roll call.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Bodyhoff,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Very good. Got our code changed on that one. On to discussion items, the first one of which is a severance request, 102 College View Lane. Who'd like to lead off on this one? Heather.
Good evening, Heather Thomas, Public Works. In front of you is a severance request in addition to a memo that outlines the property being requested to be severed. On the screen in front of you, this is the south city limits. The properties that we spoke of earlier this evening are the two just south of the property outlined in cyan. This request and this discussion item in front of you is for the cyan property. It is a residential house with an assessed value of $556,320. We did reach out to all of the utilities and stakeholders, the county, to get comments on those, and those are all included in your packet. There was a comment made about the legality of severing this property, but with the motion made earlier this evening, that is no longer a concern as far as creating an island. With that, I will open it up for questions.
Questions by the council up here?
Your Honor. Not so much a question, can I make a comment at this time? Thank you, Your Honor. I don't know of any other property that we have in the city that you actually drive from city property, drive through county property to get back into city property. And I don't, because all of College View Lane is county, so I guess this one makes sense to me to let them out. And again, I talked to another counselor today about, are we setting a precedent and are we opening the floodgates? And I could only think of two other properties that would even have arguments that border the city, or in the city, but on the borders. I don't understand how we can keep this in the, if there was another street coming from the north, a street coming from the west into the north side of their property, but driving through the county to get back into the city, this one's never made sense to me, so I'll be voting to move this forward to allow the severance. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Other council comments? Public comment?
Grab a chair for her.
Honor, if I may.
Okay, I'll go back to council comments before public comment. Oh, you bet. Let the record reflect.
Noemi 102 College View Lane. So what we're wanting to do is we want to be able to have chickens because with chickens you can do a lot of things, but we're not allowed to do that just because we're in city limits. But we don't get amenities even though we pay taxes. So we pay taxes, then we don't get the amenities. And the city probably wouldn't like that if we got amenities, but they didn't get the taxes for us having them.
Yeah. Max Moldman, 102 College View Lane. Yeah, if we would get all the amenities but don't pay taxes, then the city would probably not okay with the situation. And likewise, the other way around, we're not getting any amenities from the city, but we pay taxes. It seems to be not correct. When I bought the property, I was under the assumption that it is a county property because it was outside of the city limit street sign, and because of the septic on the property, it was a no-brainer for me, and I only got later informed about the long history of this. And the last owner even sold the property because he couldn't use it like he wanted to use it for horses. And if I ever want to sell this property again, it will be much easier to do so if the legal situation is resolved and it belongs into the county. Like the other parcel that I own, which is the College View Lane. And yeah. So the other part that I want to mention is that this is a discussion part, and theoretically you could open this up for discussions from the public for the next meeting, but the only neighbor that would be able to comment would be the college, and they won't be making any comments. So I would like to ask you to also vote on this today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, this is a discussion item tonight, so the direction that we're needing from council is just direction whether to proceed with bringing a resolution at the next meeting to vote on whether or not to approve the severance.
Thank you. Yep, got that.
Hang on, Heather. Put that map back up there for me, please. Thank you very much. So, Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. I am an investor in the community, and I do own a property on College View Lane. And just to make it clear what Max said, College View Lane is a private driveway with easements to 8 properties that are in the county. We all pay to maintain that road. We share the costs. So the Moldemans technically own a property in the city with their house on it and their driveway in the county. And so I tend to agree with them because they can't get city services. Rural Water owns the district, so we can't put city water there without buying it. We have budget issues. We can't actually provide any of the services. So I think it should be severed as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak?
Your Honor.
Yes.
I mean, he admitted he didn't know when he purchased the property that it wasn't in the county. That is not the city's problem. Also, he doesn't pay for water. He doesn't pay for sewer. So therefore, it's really not a service that he needs to worry about in here. The amenities to a property that are on the city's borders are the entire city, just like everybody else in Marshalltown who drives on city streets, police and fire access, everything like that. So I don't believe they're not receiving any city amenities.
Monty Eaton, 2460 Reed Avenue. If you look at the diagram, there's a tree line toward the bottom. I don't know if the mouse is working. The house you just severed right there. Max's is right here. College View Lane is right here. College View Lane really isn't a lane. It's just a driveway, exactly the same way as mine. Now, to Mr. Snyder saying that on the amenities issue, there's 4 houses on Summit Street, on West Summit Street that are in the county, that all have city water. They all have city streets, city curb and gutter, city street plowing, city street maintenance. They've got a 2080 agreement with the city for fire protection, police protection. They receive more services than the College View Lane. There's a house located on Westwood that has a city property that has their driveway on it, and they purchased county property to build their house on directly to the south of it. That has a city street, city water, city parcel that they drive through to get to their county house. They have city fire. They have all the city amenities that Max doesn't have. There's a house on 233rd Street that's located in between 2 county residents that were forced to annex into the city when they were built recently. Now, the house directly in the center, city street plowing, curb and gutter, fire hydrant in the front yard, city street lights, but yet it resides in the county. Now, the list goes on. I think there's 18 properties. And if you look really tough, I think it gets up to 55 that have city water and city fire hydrants that are attached to the city boundary that have voluntary annexations filed in order to be connected to the city water main. So I'm not sure what purpose it is to keep Max in other than arrogance and egos. That's all I have to say.
Anyone else?
Your Honor?
Yes.
May I ask Heather a question? We keep hearing terms, services, amenities, water, sewer. Is that a service or is that a utility?
They're a utility, and they're charged separately, just like Councilman Schneider mentioned.
And then, probably not on you, in the event there was a fire at this property, who would be the responding department?
Chief Ryerson addressed that in his comments that he put in here. And my understanding is the default person would be, our township would be the Haverhill Township. He's shaking his head yes. We do have a 2080 agreement that if they called for mutual aid, we would provide mutual aid just as we would with other properties in the county.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, you've already spoken.
She brought up comments after.
Yeah, I don't care.
The fact.
Nah, I think we've heard enough.
Now, she brought up comments after the fact that.
I don't
were not
care.
brought to
I
light
don't
ahead
care,
of
sir.
time.
We've got a lot of people that are here to speak tonight. You already were at about 2.5 minutes. Your brother was about 2 minutes on the topic. Sit down. Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Anyone up here wish to make a motion to direct staff to do any work to figure out what the resolution should be?
Your Honor, I'd make a motion to direct staff to bring this back so we can vote on the severance, one way or the other.
I'll second it.
Okay. Let's call the roll.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
No.
Thompson?
Yes.
Hoop?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Bodyhoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Okay, staff has direction to bring a resolution back to see if this can get resolved as well. Thank you. On to the next discussion item, and that is the fireworks funding request.
I use a step stool too. Luisa Ortega, 2023 Catalina Place. So I'll try to make it quick because, yeah, you do have a full house today. So first of all, I want to thank everyone, the city, the businesses, our community, the county, the police department, fire department, Mike, Andy, Dylan Does, Michelle Rosenborough, a lot of the service groups in town that are starting to join the group and helping with the 4th of July fireworks celebration. So we're really excited this year to be able to bring more activities to Marshalltown. And so I'm here to ask for the $5,000 donation that we normally ask. And then just to let the community know that we have already started fundraising efforts. So last Friday we had a fundraiser at Hy-Vee and we raised $430. So fundraising is already on its way. The 23rd we have a wine and paint that you can still sign up for. And that'll be $50 per person and you'll get your supplies and 1 cup of wine. So we've got that. And then we're also planning a spring cleanup with junk relief that should bring in a good amount of money for the fireworks. And the reason that we're starting so early is because we're going to be requesting or hopefully raising $30,000 this year for the fireworks. And the reason for that is the fireworks normally cost about $18,000 to $20,000. And we also want to be able to bring in a more well-known name for the performance. And the goal here is to make the 4th of July fireworks a destination. So we want Marshalltown to be the place to come for the fireworks. We want all the small towns around to be able to come to Marshalltown and enjoy it. And it's not going to be just on the 4th. We are planning to start activities on the 3rd. So having the 13th Street District involved and having a car show, maybe some activities, and then having all day on the 4th activities. And we're really excited to have the Vets Home take a large participation this year, which is only correct to have them more involved. And so there has been meetings going on with people at the Vets Home. So just really excited this year. I think it's going to be a really neat thing, and it's going to grow, and it's going to be a good thing for Marshalltown. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone up here wish to discuss this further?
Your Honor, I have a point of order question.
Sure.
Are we discussing 2024, or are we discussing 2025? The reason I ask is we already committed 5,000 to 2024's fireworks. So, I need, I guess, clarification. What are we discussing here?
That's a good question, because our year ends on, or starts on July 1, as I understand it, our fiscal year does. So our finance director has indicated the discussion is about 2025. So next year, if we've already got 2024 figured out.
So we've committed the 5,000 to 2024. So now we're discussing for a year from this July 4th.
I don't believe we brought forward a resolution for 24 yet.
Here comes somebody to straighten it out, Your Honor.
Diana Steiner, Finance Director. So, yes, when we approved the budget for the local option sales tax a year ago for FY24, you put $5,000 in there. We can bring a resolution for that. Tonight, we're talking about fiscal year 25's budget. So I originally put $5,000 in the local option sales tax budget for that, but, you know, you needed to discuss it more, so.
Okay, so one more clarification. So we put a placeholder in when we discussed local option sales tax for 2024. Housekeeping, we do need eventually, in a future meeting, to do a formal resolution on 2024, correct?
Right.
Okay. But this discussion tonight is 2025.
Correct.
Okay,
Which
thank you.
starts next July 1st, 2024.
It might be appropriate to direct staff to come up with a resolution at the next meeting or two to confirm the.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're spending the money on the 4th of July for this either. We're spending the money far in advance, so it would be in fiscal year 24.
Fiscal year 24, I have to cut the check before June 30th. We're in fiscal.
Don't they have to have a fireworks spot way before that? So that comment just confused me more. So are we, this resolution or this discussion right here is about July of 2025, is that correct?
July of 2024 is fiscal year 25. Fiscal year 25 runs July 1st, 2024 through June 30th of 2025.
Right, but July 4th is right after the fiscal year, so I'm assuming the money would be spent before that.
Which is 2024, right? But we're working on fiscal year 25's budget.
Your Honor, could I make a motion to direct staff to bring forward something to fund the fireworks for July 4th, 2024? The tune of $5,000 from local option sales tax.
Right. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Roll call. Oh, we just about had a lawsuit.
Kell?
Yes.
Bodyhoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Oh.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Hoop?
No.
Okay.
Your Honor?
That carry on, what my understanding is that it is to have a resolution coming to confirm that we are going to actually spend the money that was already authorized for the year ending July 1 this year. And then if there needs to be further discussion about what happens for the next year, we could continue that discussion.
And Your Honor, my question for that discussion is, I don't think we need to do that tonight. Diana, when is the deadline for us to even put any placeholders in for 2020, fiscal year 2025?
So local option sales tax is a special revenue fund, and that's what we're discussing tonight, later on the agenda. So we're building the budget right now. So the adopted budget has to be to the county by the end of April. But I'll be bringing you forward all the budget spreadsheets in probably either the next meeting or the following meeting.
Thank you, Your Honor. Then I'd say let's just bring this back at another meeting and keep moving through this, the rest of the agenda.
I think we're going to have the same exact thing happening with everybody else coming up to talk about the special funds that have been cut out by the legislature. And we probably need to start talking about for year 24-25 and 25-26 to get it clear, because it really is pretty vague for those of us that live on a calendar year. Yeah. Good. Okay, anybody else on that one? I think staff has the immediate direction, and we will be seeing it on the budget coming up here in the next month or two for the next year after that. Thank you again, Louisa. Every year when you come, we thank you for continuing to do this year after year, and it just seems to be getting better. On to our next one, which is the municipal band funding request.
Jody Britnell, 405 North First Street. Mr. Mayor and council members, my name is Jody Britnell, and I'm here with Brett Umphin and members of the Marshalltown Municipal Band. In 1921, Iowa passed the Municipal Band Law levy, which enabled towns under 40,000 to implement a modest tax to support community bands. Steve Storjahan, American Legion, stated from their records that the band has performed for Memorial Day since 1930. There are over 100 municipal community bands in the state of Iowa. Last year, we had 51 members ranging in age from 16 to 83. It's a great intergenerational group. The young people keep us older folks on our toes. Brett does an amazing job of picking out music. We have a different set of music each week. We even have a Christmas in July concerts, since we don't really get to play any of the Christmas music available. Brett sometimes gets the kids in the audience involved by having them come up and direct a march that we all know pretty well, or play percussion toys along with the band. We rehearse on Monday nights and perform on Thursday evenings at the 13th Street Shelter. We perform from May to the end of July, when we had 10 concerts in 2023. We also perform for Memorial Day and 4th of July at the fairgrounds as special events like the courthouse rededication. Last year, we had a new member who moved here from South Dakota, and she was so excited that we had a municipal band that she could be a part of. We average between 35 to 50 people at our concerts. It's fun to see all ages in lawn chairs and blankets eating Lily Mace ice cream or flying elbow to-go boxes while enjoying an outdoor concert. Seeing kids dance and pretend to direct is truly heartwarming. We are requesting $8,000 to continue supporting the band, and we appreciate your support for more than 100 years. Thank you.
I'd have to ask you, because I know the answer. How many years have you been playing in the band?
51.
Wow.
I started when I was 14. Do the math.
Thank you. Time for discussion up here at the table and then out there on the floor. What up here?
Your Honor, I think this is a worthy community asset that we should fund.
I think this is a good point of funding it with local option sales tax. It's a good program.
I have a question for Jody, and I'll be nice this year, Jody. The $8,000 that you're asking from the city, is that your entire budget, or does that supplement a budget?
It supplements a budget.
What is your entire budget?
It's about 10 to 11,000.
So you're fundraising 3,000.
We're trying. We sent out letters last fall. We sent 12 letters out for fundraising and got 3 responses back, and we raised $1,600 right now. So, and we have carryover. So, spending down our carryover as much as we can without taxing the city a lot.
So if somebody like, I don't know, Councilman Schneider could go out and fundraise more money, or Councilman Thompson, you would lower your ask then, is what you're saying. Your ask
Yes.
is just to make up the difference.
Yes.
For, and I'm assuming you're not a really aggressive fundraiser?
No. Help me here, Brett. So,
I honestly believe that this is such a small amount that with some guidance and some help and some boots on the ground, that we could actually fundraise your whole amount every year.
okay.
Other council comments?
I would echo what Councilor Schneider and Lottie Hoff said, that this is a great amenity to have in our community. It's demonstrated that all age groups in our community are utilizing it, and it's a great reason to get out and explore the amenities within our community. So this is money very well spent.
How do you like the band shell in West End Park after the city fixed it up?
Your Honor, I think I heard Councilman Thompson volunteer for that job, so thank you, Gary.
Anybody else up here? Otherwise, time for public comment?
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I think I could help Councilman Thompson go get fundraisers. There's plenty of people here in Marshalltown that are looking for tax deductions. I think this would be a worthy cause for getting tax deductions.
How about public comment? I want to give staff direction on this one?
Your Honor, I'd make a motion to give staff direction to provide $8,000 of funding through Lost.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Kell?
Yes.
Lottie Hoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
No.
Nichols?
On mute?
Nichols?
No.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
No.
Hoop?
No.
I lost count. So no?
5-2.
5-2, okay.
Your Honor,
No,
I will.
excuse me, 4-3. 4-3.
Your Honor, I will fundraise. We'll get the money.
Thank you. Staff has no direction on that one for now. On to the next item, which is Marshalltown Arts and Civic Center funding request, or the MAC building as it's known.
Thank you. Mike Mason, 502 Springfield Drive in Marshalltown. I'm a member of the board for the Marshalltown Arts and Civic Center and a resident of Marshalltown since '75. I've been employed. I was employed by Fisher Controls Emerson and retired in 2018 after 43 years, so I have a strong connection to the Fisher tradition and impact in the community. Thank you all for your time this evening, and thank you for what you do for the city. My role tonight, as part of our presentation from the MAC people, is to give you a little history and background of the facility and the Fisher tradition that we have there. In 1958, Bill Fisher funded this community building and dedicated it to the city, and it's provided a fantastic opportunity for art education, public meeting space for residents for over these last 60 years. And in addition to that, it houses one of the best world-class Impressionist art collections in the country. Up until the 1970s, when Mr. Fisher sold the Fisher Governor Company to Monsanto, the costs for the building operations were covered by the Fisher organization through the Fisher Governor Foundation. After he sold the business, was unable for those funds to continue to flow from the Fisher organization, and he went to the city and through the mechanisms of funding through the city was able to provide a large share of the operating funds for those many years up until the problems we're facing now. I think it was pointed out by some of the council members that obviously there's support in the community through the mechanisms that were available, that citizens supported it. And citizens have been very generous in capital donations and the huge effort that's been underway the last few years to rebuild the facility. And we appreciate what the city's been able to do. So we are here tonight hoping to fully fund the $100,000 annual amount so that we can continue to fulfill the goals of the Fisher, what was the Fisher Community Center, now the MAC. I think it's worth understanding that the operating funds for the MAC are really made up of three components. One is the revenues that we receive from tenants and people that rent space that have meetings, conference rooms, family reunions, weddings, etc. That's a very important source of revenue. Another important source of revenue is what we are able to do, receive through donations and grants and things that are available to us. And the third leg, and a very important leg, it's about 50% of our operating revenue is the funds that we receive from the city. So in summary, it's time to reconfigure how we fund this, and it's an important component. The legacy, the impact of the community center and the arts and civic center on the city and to the residents is as important as it ever was. And so we appreciate your concerns and your considerations.
Thanks, Mr. Mason.
Whoa. I'm Karen Gregory, and as the past executive director of the Martha Ellen Ty Foundation, and in my current role on the Fisher Governor Board of Directors, I've had the opportunity to witness the incredible generosity and philanthropy of this family. Their legacy really speaks for itself. And while none of them live here in Marshalltown, it is their desire to keep what their ancestors gifted to Marshalltown here in Marshalltown. I spoke with the family shortly after the derecho wiped out the building. We needed to decide what we were going to do with the building. The art at the time was in Chicago being restored. Unbeknownst to us at that point, we were going to be staring down a $7 million renovation with another $2 million for the Martha Ellen Ty Playhouse. But as I spoke to the family, as with most people and donors, they were concerned about the long-term sustainability of this facility and the operations. At that point, I had spoken and received the support from the city that the support that had been given since 1969 would indeed continue. The importance of knowing that this was going to be sustained long-term came because if we didn't have an operating facility, we could not keep the art. So, if that were the case, The foundation, the Fisher Governor Foundation that actually owns the art, would have to move it to another city. The second discussion that I had with the family was in regards to the name change. The family explained to me that Bill and Dorothy Fisher donated the building and the art to provide Marshalltown with cultural enhancement and economic development. They understood the connection between the recruitment of employees and the recruitment of other companies, and how that pairs with the opportunity that this art would bring. What we wanted to do in changing the name to Marshalltown Arts and Civic Center paired perfectly with the intention of Bill and Dorothy Fisher. They wanted to bring economic development and culture and gift this to Marshalltown. The family 100% endorsed the name change. It wasn't about Fisher, it was about Marshalltown and what this facility and this art could do for our community. So with the Fisher family blessing and with a $1 million grant from the Martha Allen Ty Foundation, we set our sights on raising the funds for the renovation. But before we discuss the funds that were raised, which were significant, I'd like to give you a snapshot of the depth of volunteering that went into making the MAC what it is today. This is a snapshot of what happened in 1 year. This 11 board member had all of these committees, and these were significant, time-consuming committees to help collaborate and bring together, again, what we have today. With this, it was all volunteer work. And in 1 year, we brought you what you have today. One addition to the board, the Capital Campaign Committee, I have to give a shout out to Paul Peglow, who was not on the board, who gave his all, he and his wife, as they ran that campaign. So while all of this work was going on, like I said, there was this committee that was raising enough funds to bring life back to this Marshalltown icon. Again, the donors that we spoke to wanted to make sure that the operating expenses would be able to sustain and grow the MAC. The city's commitment to continuing the support was about half of the revenue that we need to generate to operate this facility. With the renovated space, we were comfortable at this point in projecting that we could raise the remaining revenue through the rental of the spaces, the conference rooms, the Monet Reception Hall. This is the art gallery as they were taking down the art to ship it to Chicago. Many of you, I'm sure, remember this green room. And this is what this is what we have today. The Monet Reception Hall has served numerous receptions and meetings that not only serve our community, but they've brought a plethora of businesses into Marshalltown for corporate meetings. These companies and potential future employees for Marshalltown probably would never have set foot in Marshalltown had it not been for coming for these meetings. And I dare say the impression that they have of Marshalltown is quite excellent. I'd like to wrap up my portion by sharing with you the Marshalltown donors. You know, we had considered stacking this room with these donors, but we did not want to carpet bomb you. Instead, we choose to show you the depth of the community's support to the MAC. The support for the MAC's restoration, again, came with the understanding that the city was going to continue to support us. This is a list of the supporters. I don't think you would have wanted all these people in here. Your constituents have done their part, and we believe that they also want the city to continue with the full commitment. Without the city's support to the operations, we cannot continue to operate the MAC. And without the MAC, the art collection would not have a home and would be lost to another community.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. John Hall with the Marshalltown Area Chamber of Commerce. I was asked as a member of the MAC board to come and speak about really the reality of the economic development as it relates to this facility. And it's not lost on me that tonight we saw unanimous approval on building a brand new building, a brand new data center, going to bring jobs to the community, and how excited everybody gets around the table for that. But economic development's a balancing act. It requires balancing what it means to bring new companies in with the needed amenities and assets to make sure that we've got the workforce to support it, and the quality of life and culture necessary to continue to sustain our companies for a long period of time, as well as knowing that if we can help to build businesses like what Fisher has become for the community, that amenities like this are the dividend that we get to reclaim as the community on the back end. And so I am here to say that this is an incredible asset that, frankly, if we all would have had a crystal ball and known what the state legislature was going to do, we probably would have gone about the fundraising strategy a little bit differently. Or maybe the art collection wouldn't have come back from Chicago and we would have said, you know what, we can't afford to fix the facility. But the dedication that the council has continued to make over the years of supporting this incredible amenity for our community cannot be understated and should not be taken back. It's also worth noting that this facility is still in what I would consider a startup phase. There's still a whole section of revenue that it requires restoration through the Martha Allen Ty Playhouse before it can really be utilized, and we can really realize the full potential of that facility. And so pulling the funding at this point sends a clear message to the donors that have already supported this and to the donors that would still be coming forth to support the Martha Allen Ty Playhouse renovation, that this isn't something that the community cares about or that the council cares about, but I think you've seen through the list of donors that have stepped up to support this that clearly that's not the case. And so I would simply ask for you guys to continue to sustain the support of this much appreciated facility for our community. Thank you.
Hi, folks. Sharon Greer, 420 Hughes. I'm just going to do a little reality check for a minute just to let you know how we feel about this. And I'm also on the board of the Fisher Governor Foundation and also this for the MAC. But what I want to emphasize is that we're talking about your community center. And it is your community center going back over 50 years. And when I say it is your community center, it is because the council, every council going before you, and I talk about the past, the present, and the future, made a commitment to this community center and helped fund it. In 1990, when the community did a fundraiser Rex Ryden ran, significant monies were put into the facility, but also the city was supporting 60% of our operating expenses. And so when you think about it, that you as a council have a legacy to stand by, and that legacy involved supporting this facility, this community center. The problem that we have right now is any reduction in that budget would be bad timing. And it is because we were gutted, we rallied, we got the funds that we could to repair the facility. With your help, we kept running. And then here we are at a point where it's still at a trying to get ourselves on our feet. Along with that, we have to do the funding for the playhouse, and we had pipes break in there because they're so old. And again, we had the whole construction of the facility. So the timing is terrible for you to withdraw your contribution, or any part of it, really. So we don't want to have to go back to survival mode because we had all these claims, our insurance premium has now gone up $10,000. It's almost $27,000 a year to insure the building. So think about the budget stability. We haven't been able to be up and running enough to even know that we can count on the rentals. We have to get, have that infusion of your help right now. It is critical, and it is a legacy of this council. So we would ask that you consider that and your historical commitment. And I'll go back to when the 1990 feasibility study was done. The community, for the fundraising, it noted, there was an extremely positive feeling expressed that the community center is a real asset to Marshalltown, and that very few cities your size have such a unique facility. Members of the Fisher family were universally saluted for their foresight in making these facilities possible. And also, the art gallery and its extraordinary collection is a gem for the Marshalltown. It would be very sad that your legacy as a council would be that the art collection is moved to Chicago. I would hope that you would support this facility and make certain that your commitment to this iconic building, which I see like the courthouse. I remember the time when they were going to tear it down, everybody went crazy. This is a building, and I gave you that last time I was here, I gave you the ad campaign that was done way back when. This was the facility. This is known as an iconic part of Marshalltown. And we count on your commitment, the community's commitment, and the board's going to have a commitment no matter what. But it includes the city council for decades. And hopefully that's part of our future. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Any further discussion up here or out there?
Your Honor?
Yes.
Yeah, my wife and I have both used and support the MAC. I, however, as a city council member, of course, face a reality. It wasn't the city that took the money away, the state took the money away. We are currently looking at using a good share of the local option sales tax in the next fiscal year to balance the budget. But when money goes away, we need to face the fact that money disappeared. I do not see this as a lack of commitment on the city. I see this that we need to face a reality that we're in a squeezed budget. I think we need to face the fact directly. I think many of our citizens in Marshalltown, as with us, would, knowing this, would contribute to support. I would encourage people to visit the website is maccia.org, and there's a place to support. But I have real concerns about the city coming from some other place in the city after the state took the appropriate funding away. I think we need to make hard adjustments so that in the end we can all be stronger.
Other council comment?
I don't know if I may.
You may.
I got to admit, this is a little personal to me. The shadow of Bill Fisher is putting food on my family's table every week, as he does thousands of people in this community over the years. And I'll admit that when Karn first showed me the destroyed community center, I thought she was maybe a little overly hopeful that they would be able to get that done. But they actually really got it done. This city receives grants that are written in that building. We have the art center in there is very unusual for a city our size. And I would hate to see that go away. I'm not particularly that big into arts, but from people that I know, it's a big deal. I just think that for all these years, such an icon, to use your words, for this city and the thousands of employees. I didn't mean to wear this shirt, but here we are. That it means something to us. It really does mean something to us. I just think it'd probably say more about myself as a council person if I were not to grant this request. So I'm in favor of granting this request. Thank you.
Your Honor?
Yes.
First, I have to start, I'm very disheartened by our decision on the municipal band, and I'm fearful what this will mean for the MAC. Responding to Councilor Nichols about the state taking the funding away, absolutely 100% true, but we can't lose sight of the fact that the community is the one who said that we value the funding, and we need to continue to support that. Yes, our budget moving forward is in flux and there is some uncertainty, but we have the funding today. We can continue to fund the MAC, provide them another year, see what the runtime gives them in terms of return on investment. It gives them an opportunity to properly plan for the future. And on a personal level, I'm employed by Emerson too. I have a legacy there. My father retired from there, second generation. But as the only counselor up here with young children and looking for those amenities that we can provide culture and exposure to our citizens, to my children, to make them excited to be in Marshalltown, and we don't have to go to a major city for that. I have employees in Mexico, and when they came up here, I sent them to the MAC to look at the Fisher Art Collection. The next time I was in Mexico City, we went to the largest museum in Mexico because they were showing me we have art similar to that. So in a town of 27,000, we have an art collection that rivals one of the largest cities in the world. And for us to turn our back on it, I fear for our future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, if I may,
You may.
I have to listen to my constituents, and they're saying that the arts and culture should be like third on the list. So I think we need to vote that way. We need to listen to our constituents. And comment from Mr. Kell here. I have young grandchildren that live here too. It's not just people who have young children. The opportunity is there to go see it, yes, but we have a budget. We need to get things straightened out here first. I think my vote will be no.
Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
I think this council would be foolish to even let an opportunity to lose this cultural icon in central Iowa go. I'll make a motion here in a little bit, but this has been around for a long time. I mean, almost everybody in this town has some sort of Fisher connections. My mother worked there, my brother works there. This is something worth saving. We are not in dire straits in our budget. We do have the revenue to fulfill this request. Let's give the MAC a few more years of runtime to get the business plan operating, and maybe in the future they'll need less support from the council, but I think we'd be very foolish to not fund this.
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
I have a question for one of our esteemed presenters. Does the Fisher Governor Foundation own the MAC, or is the MAC a separate nonprofit entity? Is there anybody here that can answer that?
The Fisher Governor owns the building and the art. We don't have funds. We just own the building and the art.
So the Fisher Governor Foundation owns the land and the building. They own everything.
Correct.
Okay, then my next question, Your Honor, if I may, is can they self-fund the maintenance? I don't know what their structure is to donate money.
There is no money to donate. It is not a foundation like the Martha Allen Ty Foundation. This foundation only owns the building There is no money for operations. That all comes through the MAC. We are the Fisher Governor Foundation doing business as the MAC, and so operations is entirely with the MAC.
Okay, so I'm looking at a website, ProPublica. The Fisher Governor Foundation has over $5 million in total assets. And what do they do with those assets?
It's art.
That's the value of the art.
Oh, it's not even close.
No.
Your Honor, I guess I'll weigh in here. Oh, thank you for clearing that up for me, because I did not understand, if there was a separation or not. Again, this was easy to fund when we voted it. It was a pass-through to the taxpayers that we labeled it a civic center. And I don't think there's anyone in this town that doesn't value the Fisher Community Center. I mean, to say there is, the Christian Peterson, his last piece of artwork that he didn't even live to see finished, he made the model. Everybody, my age knows about the Monet being stolen and recovered. What that facility, and for me, again, like everybody's weighing in, my father retired from Fisher, and I'm probably one of the few in this room that was lucky enough to actually meet Bill Fisher. I want to make sure everybody understands that my opinion is there's nobody that doesn't value this structure, this facility, and what it's given to Marshalltown. However, we may lose the local option sales tax in this vote in March and then future votes. That's where this money would come from. When it was a pass-through, it was an easy vote for all of us. I can't answer to the taxpayers that I represent that I can fund this, so I will be voting no to move this forward. But please don't get me wrong. The facility is a gem. Thank you, Your Honor.
Anyone else?
Question. Alicia, is this a one-year deal or a multiple-year deal?
We would have to establish a new agreement. We don't currently have one. I don't remember the time period on the last agreement.
Your Honor, maybe I can simplify this for you. I'll like to make a motion for a one-year funding agreement for $100,000 out of lost.
I will second. And then a point of clarification on Gary's comment. We do have local option sales tax for another year. Yeah, it doesn't expire this year.
I think everybody, has anybody else, would anybody else like to speak at the council table? Public comment on this one?
I say over and over again, we cannot cut our way to prosperity. And so all the people that didn't contribute, because the list of contributors is quite large, there's still a large portion of our population who is not contributing yet, receiving the benefit for that. And I just cannot believe that this council would vote no to not supporting this civic center, a community center. Even my small town in Hamlintown, Iowa, has a community center that they fund out of their tax dollars. A town of less than 200 people. Really, we can't find a way in a town of 27,000 to continue this. I think this is an easy vote.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public?
Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. So we have the Veterans Memorial Coliseum. We have a theater at the school system. I'm not against the Fisher Community Center or the MAC, the name, whatever. I think it's a valuable asset. What boggles my mind is what I said in public comment. We have over 230 nonprofits in Marshalltown, many of them with multi-million-dollar endowments. There is no reason that that center can't stay there funded by nonprofits. It does not have to be funded by the taxpayer. We are raising storm sewer rates. The county's raising taxes. The school district's raising taxes. The taxpayers taxed out. It's time for those nonprofits with multi-million-dollar foundations to stand up and fund these programs. I don't understand why we sit on all this money when the community needs it to grow, as they say. And I agree. Why can't we fix it from both ends of the string? Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name's Paul Gregory, and I also sit on the MAC board, and am a retiree from Fisher. Worked there for 14 years, moved here in 2005, retired in 2018. I can tell you that as a part of my job at Fisher, Emerson, the length to which that company went to fund so many things in this community that I'm sure most of you in here don't even know. It wasn't Fisher standing up saying, hey, look at us, we're giving out this money. But I can tell you, because it was a part of my job, that over $600,000 a year I approved to go into this community. No, we didn't send it to Ames. No, we didn't send it to Des Moines. Marshall County and Marshalltown proper was who benefited from Fisher. And we've talked about that legacy a lot tonight. And I think honoring that legacy is a huge thing that council's past, and I'm hoping council present and future will continue to do. I can also tell you that if we can't operate this facility, there are a lot of nonprofits that won't have a place to meet anymore for free. One of the things we've done as the city has partnered with us on this over the years is offer the facility, the best facility in this town for this now, the opportunity to meet Kiwanis or whatever organization for nothing as a community service. That's what the Fisher family wanted. And I can tell you again, let's honor that legacy like we do when you walk in that facility. You can still feel it. Let's honor that as a group, as a town, as a council, as Joe Public, whatever. I ask you to please do that because it's a facility that just fills a huge need that we have here. And it's something that Fisher has helped bring to this community over the years, and we just want to have that keep going. So, thank you.
Lee Botter, 401 Orchard Drive. First of all, I want to thank Karn for the magnificent tour that we had of the facility. It's absolutely beautiful. Been there before derecho, after derecho, and it is a gem for this community. But we struggle. We struggle with making sure that we can afford these things. As a nonprofit, I had no idea until that night that we could meet there for free. I would like to challenge the MAC board to do some additional fundraising, get those letters out for ask. We were never asked. I would be more than happy to contribute, but I was never asked. I didn't realize that that was going on. And I'm sorry for the TR. I have not been subscribing lately. So perhaps it was in the TR and I didn't see it. But I would love to have that opportunity. So let's fundraise. Let's fundraise with what we're doing for the other folks too. And perhaps the ask can come down. Thank you.
Mic is still open.
Cynthia Ragland, 1502 West Lincoln Way. And I think it's wonderful that I keep hearing echoed how the legacy is important to all of us. And I think it's great that we all agree on that. I will say, as somebody who's done as much volunteering and fundraising in this town as I can, not nearly as much as my mother, who's poured her heart and soul, Jane Bauer, into this town, doing fundraising and volunteering. A lot of us work really, really hard to do all of that, and we will continue to do that because we love this town and it's special. But this is something where if you are aware of what's happening in the inner workings, we need this money for sure another year, or something's going to have to give. And I'm not sure that when we all say, oh, it means so much to us, and we can get this money somewhere else, right now we need it here. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Or for me?
No, it's all, we had a bet going in. I thought maybe 6:30. Alicia thought 7:30. Oh, that's an easy question. Coroner Paul, yeah, what's the address?
We live in Rhodes in Marshalltown, but we both sit on the MAC board and both worked here for many years in town. So. No.
Yeah, no, rural roads. Sorry, if I knew that was the question, I could have answered that myself. Okay. Let's call the roll. And the motion is to fund it for $100,000 in the year of 25-26, as I understand it.
Lottie Hoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
No.
Diana has a correction.
Okay. It's fiscal year 25, which is July 1st, 24 through June of 25. So it's fiscal year 25,
Yeah,
not
that was
25,
it.
26. Okay.
I'm going to start that over. Lottie Hoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
No.
Nichols?
No.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
No.
Hoop?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Carried 4-3. Thank you for the input. On to the next discussion item, which is special revenues. Diana, do you want to lead that one off?
Okay.
And I'm fond of telling people while we're pulling up the website, anybody who's been here to speak and doesn't need to listen to the rest of the agenda, you're free to leave. We don't keep notes on that sort of thing, and nobody's offended if you leave early. And happy to have everybody stick around.
Okay, a few weeks ago, we talked about our general fund revenues, and last time we talked about our debt service, and now we're talking about special revenues. So what are special revenues? There are grants, specifically for a specific purpose. There are certain property taxes for our levies, like our employee benefits levy. Special taxes such as road use tax, local option sales tax. So I'd like to go over those tonight. So Heather will be going over Fund 110 road use tax because that's her responsibility. So I will be going over another major item, which is local option sales tax. We did talk about this probably a month ago now, but I'm bringing it back. So again, we have property tax relief. Part of lost is 78%, 22% is council designated, and we had a little bit left over from capital projects. I did add in our reimbursement for the aquatic center's concession for the painting of the pool that you approved last time, and our city administrator recruitment. So coming into fiscal year 25, which again starts next July, we'll use 78% for property tax relief, so we're using $3,120,000. We're going to buy it down, so the levy stays at $16, so we're kicking in another $1 million for that. The cash flow reserve, I put in that we're staying at 17% of our general fund budget, so that would be $249,000. Again, this would require a taxpayer vote to take any money out of this, so it sits there and it helps us fund our cash flow throughout the year. We have a downtown site furnishings, which you already had approved. We're just estimating that $85,000 is coming for next year. We have the new home buyer incentive program. This is at $2,500 each. We spent $3 in fiscal year '23. We budgeted $25 in fiscal year '24, and the rest we're putting in fiscal year '25, so $180,000. Put in $5,000 for fireworks. We're transferring $792,000 into the general fund to keep our departments at status quo. This did include the band at $8,000 and the MAC at $100,000. We needed some match for our lead grant. This may or may not actually be needed, but we have it set aside, $75,000 for fiscal year '25. We put in $46,000 for the city center parking lot. And then we had another DTR project that you already committed to. So we're projecting at the end of fiscal year '25, at June 30th, about $280,000 left in the property tax relief, about $1.5 million left in the council designated, and $78,000 for the capitals projects. Is this what you wanted me to do, based on what our discussions were before?
Your Honor, I have a question. Diana, the home buyer incentive, that's our last, next year is our last year. Next fiscal year is our last year, is the commitment we made. Is that correct?
I don't think there's an expiration date. Is there, John? Or Joe? Okay. There's no expiration date on it. So whatever we don't spend, it will just roll into the next fiscal year.
Okay, thank you.
Other comments or questions up here?
Okay, so I will go with this, I will enter this, and now Heather will talk about road use tax.
Good evening, Heather Thomas, Public Works. Included in your packet is a memo outlining our road use tax. This fiscal year '25, the budget as presented shows that our revenue is about $424,000 above our expenses, which is great. But looking at our CIP and the plan that we presented previously, I think 2 council meetings ago now at this point, this next fiscal year, '26, we're looking at several larger CIP purchases that would project a budget of about negative $700,000 in the next fiscal year. So it's not uncommon in road use tax to have large projects that are $500,000 for equipment purchases, or money that's allocated to projects like the South 7th Ave project, Railroad Quiet Zone, reimbursement on the Highway 14 project, some of the road work that was done there. So with that, I will open it up for questions and ask for approval of the fiscal year '25 budget as presented.
Questions, comments by the council up here? Questions, comments by the public on the floor?
Joe Carter, 610 Elmwood Drive. I just want to touch on, I'm no longer on the chamber board, but I was the chair of the chamber at the time I came at that request. I don't know exactly how many homes have been built and taken advantage of that request. The problem is we set out $250,000 from the city, as I'm sure most of you guys remember that we did that, but there's a win for the city because then there's no tax abatement that the resident gets to take on that. So it's a win over a period of time, and so I hope that $250,000 is being relieved, taken out of the budget as we pay for new homes, where the $10,000 ask per home is taken out, and so 7 homes, so I think it's $70,000. I think it's down to $180,000. So it will continue to drop until we use all $250,000 there. But what a great incentive! I think it's working for us. We just would like to use $180,000 a year, but is that really going to happen in this next year? I don't know. I don't think anybody knows.
Your Honor, can I clarify part of my question?
Sure.
Joe and John, I just, for some reason, my memory, which is getting foggier every day, is I just thought there was a time commitment also. And so, yeah, I just wanted clarification on that. I mean, yeah. And that was, and Diana clarified that, so.
Yeah, and John Hall, Marshalltown Area Chamber of Commerce. I don't believe there was a time commitment. I think there was a time goal of trying to build 100 new homes, and I believe it was a 5-year time frame. I think, have sent out the $10,000 on 5 homes so far. We just sent invoices for 2 more to the city, would have been probably last week. We've got 12 under construction right now, so we're starting to see an uptick in movement in terms of building. Land availability is going to be, we're going to run up against, I know we just unlocked 35 lots in that area, but land availability is going to be our next hurdle.
Any further discussion by anybody else?
So, Your Honor, what do you need from us, right, or what does Heather or Diana need on this discussion item?
Do you need anything further, Diana? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Let's go on to a more interesting topic, and that's the tax levy.
Diana Steiner, Finance Director. Per your direction, kept the property tax levy the same as this current fiscal year at $16 per thousand. So last time when I brought this, I had the FICA, NIPERS, and other employee benefits all dumped into one line. Now that we're finalizing things, I split it. That's the change there. And in order to keep it at $16, since we raised the transit levy up to 40 cents, I had to put in $834,000. I offset that in the other employee benefit levy, so that fund balance will drop to close to about $2 million. So any questions? If this is okay, then at the next meeting, I'll bring the sheet that we'll send to the county, and they'll be mailing out to every taxpayer what the school, the city, and the county's rate will be, and they'll be posted for our property tax hearing date, which people can attend.
Thanks. Anybody up here or out there have any questions or comments about this?
Your Honor, I've got a really stupid question. Really stupid.
I won't comment, but I'll let you ask it.
Oh, you will comment. So, assuming that the individuals that you have contracted with, and there may be more in the future, will impact fiscal year 24 and fiscal year 25, you know, how far we go into this search for a new city administrator, I guess, is that coming out of local option sales tax? I mean, or is that coming out of an account somewhere that that's going to impact some things down the road?
Well, I'm too stupid to understand the question, but Diana, if you did, take it on.
Okay, so for the recruitment, that's coming out of local option sales tax.
The contracted employees that he has hired, the mayor has hired under, you know, his discretion, and then future contracted employees, where are their wages coming out of?
Well, it would come out of the city administrator's budget because there's nobody filling that position.
That's for all
That's
contracted, for all different contracted employees that he may or may not hire?
It doesn't really matter. We're all in the function 6,000, so you know whether it comes out of the finances budget
Okay,
or the
right.
city administrator, it doesn't really matter.
Thank you. I just didn't know when to ask that question, so thank you. Thanks for not commenting, Your Honor.
All right. I'm not up to the $40,000 limit yet.
No. 50.
But I'm saving the city a hell of a lot of money while I'm acting as a city administrator at no extra stipend.
Doing a damn good job.
No, I'm not. We need a temporary one, and we need a permanent one. The sooner the better. End of tax levy. Let's talk about the last one, which is my item, amending the city council manual. And so let me lead off on that one. There are 8 cities that are in the same population as we are, some below, some above. I talked to all of them today, got the range of how they handle things like this. One city allows only 2 minutes for discussion by each person. One has a 20-minute limit, and so if more people show up than could speak in the 3 to 5 minutes that they allow, they require a designated person for groups that are together. Some have discussion, open public discussion at the beginning of the meeting, some at the end like we used to. And the range was 2 to 5 minutes in terms of how much each person speaks. What I'm suggesting is that we all consider going to something such as having 5 minutes instead of 3 minutes at the beginning of the meeting to talk about any item that's on the agenda and any item that isn't on the agenda. And so the way that some cities do it is those public members are able to speak if they have an item or 2 or 3 on the agenda that they want to have input about. And they do that at the beginning of the meeting, so they don't have to wait till the very end. But then at each item under discussion, there isn't discussion other than when there's a public hearing, when public discussion has to be allowed under the state code. And so what I'm suggesting is we look at something like having going from 3 to 5 minutes and having public comment on any items that weren't on the agenda, any items that are, and then it'll speed up the meeting when we go to things like new ordinances or other items that we're voting on where the council's already been able to receive input from people by letters, by emails, by calls to counselors, and then the 5 minutes per person at a meeting. So I'm throwing that out there. I did take pretty good notes, and I copied off most of the recent agendas of the cities that I talked to: Mason City, Cedar Falls, Fort Dodge, Waukee, Bettendorf, Marion. I missed one in there. And also then took notes about what their range was. So I wanted to throw that out there to try to speed up the meetings. I do think it's worked better to not require people to hang around until 7:45 if they wanted to throw something out on the table for a discussion on something that wasn't on the agenda. But although tonight we had more public comment than we've had yet since we made the change. So let me throw that out there first for the council, then for the public to talk about.
Your Honor.
Yes.
So, I support the 5 minutes at the beginning for all items, but I would object to not having our citizens have an opportunity to speak to an issue as it came up, as we are doing now. I think we'd have lost a lot in this discussion this evening if it had just been 5 minutes at the beginning, and then as the issue of something like funding came up, citizens that cared did not have the opportunity to share that was relevant at that point in time. So I understand wanting a shorter meeting, but I also want to get greater citizen participation and increase citizen involvement. And I think, I would support keeping the public discussion item limit to 3 minutes, but have it at the point of the topic.
Anyone else?
Your Honor?
Yes.
So I didn't know how to start to investigate this, so I actually took our wage study and took our 19 comparable communities and took a look to see how those cities that we measure ourselves against handle this, and the majority are similar, in line with what you've proposed here. So from that, there's nothing concerning. The second layer in trying to understand this is I went to our council manual. And our council manual explicitly states that meetings should be used as much as possible for bona fide debate on public matters rather than fact-finding gathering, which should be accomplished due to due diligence before the meeting. So we have a responsibility to the citizens to come prepared to our meetings. With that, our phone numbers, our emails are published. They can reach out to us. We can have those discussions in greater detail at the point of whenever they have the concern leading up to the meeting. So for those couple things, I think we're following a best practice, and then we're more closely adhering to our own council manual. I would be in support of this change.
Anyone else?
I would like to echo what Barry said. I do think that extending the public comment to 5 minutes, the agendas are printed in the back. You can sit and review what's going to be on. If there's an item that you would like to bring up and voice your concerns about, that's your time. I do remember a past city administrator pointing out several times that city council meetings are basically a business meeting between the councilors. I do not in any way want to limit the public's access to us, as Barry brought up. Email, call, run into me, however you want to do it. The public has plenty of time to talk to me, and I don't cut anybody off. So I like the idea of going to this. As the city gets busier and busier, we're going to be looking at longer and longer and longer meetings. And any way that we can streamline that without limiting public comment, I think is a good way to go. Thank you.
Other council comment?
Your Honor, if I may?
You may.
Outside of budget season, we routinely meet twice a month. And for me, if I can't give, like tonight, 2.5 hours to the taxpayers so they can be heard, I like the idea of the way we have it now. I like the debate is all at the same time. I don't like the idea of somebody, have a member from the public having their say at the beginning of the meeting, and then 45 minutes later we debate that. They may hear something that we say that sparks an idea that they want to bring up, or something they didn't think of. And this, I'm not afraid to hear pros and cons for me or against me. I like the debate. I like the lively debate that we have now, and I would like to keep it that way. So thank you, Your Honor.
Anyone else? Open to the public on this one.
Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. As a shareholder in this company, I'd like to be able to voice my opinion when it's relevant and related to, so that everybody's on the same topic, not like the school board. If you want to kill public comment, just do it like the school board and put all the comments at the front. It's good for killing comments. Thanks.
Doris Kinnick, 2020 Catalina Place. It's been almost over a year now that I've been going to these city council meetings, and I do like the public comment at the beginning better than at the end. And I also think it's, as somebody else said, maybe it was Councilman Thompson, who said that if there is an idea sparked, then at least we, your public, the ones who voted you in, will get a chance to put our 2 cents worth in. So thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Lyle Heineman, 2804 Arnold Drive, and I highly recommend that you keep it the way it is. I think it would be better just for the whole city as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Tom Weber, 2002 Edgebrook Drive. I've lived in Marshalltown 20 years, and I'm sorry to say this is only my second council meeting that I've attended in real life. And I really enjoyed them, and the part that I really enjoy is the open discussion and your willingness to listen to the citizens. So I like what I've heard. I'm going to keep coming back if you don't change it.
Mic is still open. I don't see anybody.
Linda Clark, 306 South 2nd Avenue, and you all have seen me many of times. I don't have a long list of businesses that I own or anything, but I remember back many years ago, we as citizens of this city, we could go to our individual council person if we had a concern, brought it to that council person whom we had elected. And then there was discussion. There was communication. There was accountability. And I try to attend as many meetings as I can, and I try not to take up too much time. And I'm glad that there were so many people that spoke. But my personal opinion, when there are comments like, you're not required to stay, I kind of take offense to that, because if I wouldn't have wanted to be here, I wouldn't have showed up. So thank you for considering everything that's been said here this evening.
It was a little girl that I was worried about her bedtime tonight, but and they did leave early, I noticed. Anybody else have anything to say? If not, we are adjourned at 7:50.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a direct staff to bring forth a resolution approving the changes as outlined in the discussion item.
And that would be 5 minutes at the beginning, covering both agenda and non-agenda items. Okay, thank you. Is there a second to that?
I will second.
Next, roll call. Sorry to skip over that.
Lottiehoff,
Yes.
Mitchell,
No.
Nichols,
No.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Hoop,
No.
Kell.
Yes.
It failed to carry, so we are now adjourned at 7:50. It didn't fail? Yeah, it failed, yeah. Yep, we're adjourned 7:54. Thanks for coming, folks.